Melanie has left a mark. Shout out to the NBA legend, Kobe, and your daughter, Gigi. From Tom Brady to Drew Bledsoe. Rain, sleet, or snow, I grind. I am clutch. I am the difference maker. I am the game changer.
Thank you guys for joining us for another episode of the Game Changers live on the Right Way Sports Network's YouTube channel. I'm your host, Malik Wright, joined with my co-host. We've got Mr. Cody Rear, aka Smashes Sports. Cody, how we doing, man?
We're living the dream, man. We get to watch some good NBA finals. I mean, the last game wasn't great, but this is the matchup that I wanted to see out of the conference champions. So I'm happy. Sports are good.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Now, Cody, I know last time you and me did a show together, right? It was just literally you and me. It was you and I.
know.
And then lo and behold, I'll pretty much give you an inside look at what happened, Cody. We never got a chance to talk about it. First and foremost, our guy Cody got married, right? And then we're trying to basically, got the ring on the finger. I love it. Love to see it. And we were winning championships with just us two. We were doing well with just us two. But then we had the opportunity to go out and make a super team. We had the opportunity to go out there and make a super team. And, I started negotiating these contracts. And the first big piece that I added was my guy Alex Sagini. Had to bring him back to TWSN. He joined the team. With his colorful shirts, looking like Tyson Fury's little brother. No, I'm kidding, Alex. Your shirt game is pretty dope. But I was excited to bring Alex back to the show. And then obviously we brought Daniel Alameda from the TWSN show. We brought him here. So, guys, this is the crew. The Game Changer started out with just Cody and I, but now you've got Alex Sagini and you've got Daniel Alameda, who I'm super excited to be doing shows with. And lo and behold, this is the best show on the TWSN YouTube channel. I just want to make sure we throw that out there. It is the best show. I know we've got some really good guys over there doing the TWSN show weekly, which you can catch every single Tuesday nights. But let's not lose sight of who's really doing what here. But in all seriousness, Alex and Daniel, it's exciting to have you guys here fully. And Alex, it was great seeing you work with Cody the last few weeks. So if you guys want to say anything to the audience, to the crowd, Alex, you can go first.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here. This is the first time we've all four been together on the show. I knew it's been a plan that's been put in motion, and now it's finally here. I can't wait. We have a lot of great topics to talk about today. Mm-hmm. But also, one thing I want to say is I didn't take my style from Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury takes his style from me.
Get out of here.
Okay. I
respect
Cody, I don't know if you've seen this side of Alex yet, but he is a ball of energy. He's his own person, definitely. But in Daniel, we've got Daniel from the TWSN show, who I don't know if I've ever worked with you in the past before, but I'm not sure.
Maybe a time or two.
I mean, guys, I'm excited. Like, I don't know. I'm gonna be the one who irritates you all, right? I want there to be shows where you guys hop off of the show and you're like, "What the hell did he just say?" Like, I'm gonna be that guy for you guys. I know Malik's gonna hate me going after him show after show after show. So is Alex. So is Cody. But guys, I'm excited for this. Let's do it.
Well, as the quote says, when you swing at the king, you best not miss. So, with that all being said, let's get this show started. Guys, Shacarri Richardson is no longer in the Olympics for smoking a little bit of weed, smoking a little bit of the reefer. Want to get you guys' thoughts on it. Do you think that it was excessive, right? You see a lot of pro sports that are doing away with the rule, right? You see sports like the NFL had a really, really, really crazy policy when it came to it. The UFC just today in Arizona officially did away. So if any of you guys are Nate Diaz fans out there and stuff like that, Nate Diaz can light up joints in the press conference without having to worry about USADA coming down on him or anything like that. What are you guys' thoughts on Shacarri Richardson being left off the Team USA for smoking a little bit of weed? Cody, go first.
Look, do you have to follow the rules that are in place? Yes. Right? Like, unfortunately, that is what it is. Now, should those rules be as stringent as they are? Absolutely not. Should she have been left off of the 4x100 team? No. Right? And it's one thing to be able to suspend her from competing in the 100. I get that, and I understand it because she broke the rules. It is what it is. That should not be a rule, but that's my stance on it. She should have. She had the time to qualify for the 4x1. I think it is a big misstep by Team USA to disqualify her. Not only is she a incredibly good athlete and competitor, and the goal of the Olympics, right, is to go out and compete and win gold medals. She's also an incredible face for athletics, for mental health, for Black women in sports. Like, she is an incredible embodiment of what it takes to succeed at an exceptional level. And she's a personality that, quite frankly, track and field, a sport that doesn't get a ton of shine. I mean, really, the Olympics and the World Championships are where they get their biggest glory, needs a superstar. And she absolutely could have been that. So I think it's a big misstep. Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to see her. The Olympic Committee disqualified her, not Team USA. Either way, I think that's a big misstep. I think it would have shown a lot of light on the Olympics.
Alex, yeah.
I completely agree with Cody in this one. It should not be illegal. It should not be against the rules at all, ever, to smoke a little bit of pot. Okay, it's legal in most.
Alex, tell us how you really feel.
Countries, it's becoming more and more legal in the United States of America. Sports shouldn't care about it. It doesn't help you at all. It doesn't help your performance at all. And if we're talking about a player-enhancing drug, I completely get it. Kick her off Team USA. But yeah, like Dash just said in the comments, the Olympic Committee might have disqualified her, but Team USA still took her off the 4x100 team. And is that them, jabbing at her because, she kind of left them hanging. Let's be real. I'm not into track and field by any means, but I knew who Shacarri Richardson was, which means I know she's a beast. And the fact that she's not there, if I'm like the coach of the Team USA track team, I'm going to be a little pissed at her because, let's be real. Should you be able to be suspended for weed? Absolutely not. But because you can, it doesn't take that long to rid your body of weed. A couple weeks. Like, she could have.
How would you know that? Just out of curiosity.
I do my research, Malik. Yeah. It doesn't take
That's
that
good
long.
Journalism. That's good journalism.
She could have just waited those couple weeks, not smoked her doobie, and we wouldn't have been talking about this right now.
Alex is writing a really complex story on it, which is in which he's researching it right now. No, but also, I don't think I've ever seen someone smoke weed and actually do better or perform at a higher level.
No, worse. I would perform at a much worse level.
And the thing, I saw somebody on Twitter really go off on, well, it's helping her mentally. I was like, oh, so like performance training, like mental, like going to therapy can help you mentally. Like, what are we talking about here? Like, oh, I'm sorry that you want your athletes to have good mental health. Like, if that, and that's what Shacarri came out and said, the reason I did it is because I was dealing with a difficult time with the passing of a family member. But if that's your way of coping and, it's legal wherever she is, by all means, like how the stigma of mental health, like all sports are really trying to say, look, we are looking after our athletes' health and safety. Mental health is a part of that health and safety. I think it's ridiculous.
Yeah, and all I want to say is I'm glad that she took responsibility, right? I think that she's being put on a platform that, because after she won the 100, everyone's giving her the coverage, right? Everyone's saying that Shacarri Richardson's the next thing. Like, oh, everyone's looking. And I'm glad she took responsibility. That's something that people want to see. They want to see a role model. They want to see somebody who takes responsibility for their actions, even if they, like, everyone's speaking up for her, saying, oh, she shouldn't be punished. But she's, hey, you know what? I screwed up, I messed up, and I'm going to handle it. So that's the only thing I can add to it. And yeah.
Yeah, so I think that we're all in agreement here that it was a little bit excessive. I honestly think her stardom is going to grow from this still. I think people are going to want to see her do well. I think people are going to want to see her. And I honestly think that this might be the start of a change. I think we might see a change happening very, 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 very soon. Saphir, our guy Saphir, is back in the comment section. He said she is in fact the next Flojo. I don't know who Flojo is. I don't know who Flojo is. I don't know. Maybe you guys can enlighten me. we'll see. I don't know who that is though. Again, I'm not really a big Olympic guy myself. I'm much more into the football, and basketball and American sports and things of that nature. I don't really pay attention to. Okay, I feel like I'm digging myself a hole here, so I'll just stop talking. But yeah. Anyway, Shacarri Richardson, I guess we stand behind you in that regards. Moving on. I don't know who wanted to talk about it, but while we're on the topic, let's talk about Ohio State football is doing an amazing job with recruiting. I believe it was Alex that sent me that. Alex, what? I know you wanted to pitch, and I know there are things that you wanted to say. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, I don't know how much y'all follow college recruiting, but Ohio State has absolutely blown every other team out of the water. And Ohio State is always a big team when it comes to recruiting. But this year, for the 2022 high school class that's coming out, they continue to get 5-star. I think I saw it was either 6 or 8 5-stars already, which is an absolute ridiculous number. Almost every other college will not hit that number there, or even close to their number. Like it's ridiculous how good they're recruiting. I don't know. Ohio State has a lot of following, and some of these recruits came out after the NIT. So, if you're a 5-star guy, go into a big time school and that has a big following, maybe that's coming into their minds a little bit, because if you go to that bigger school, you're going to have more opportunities for those endorsements and things like that. So maybe that's coming into some recruits' mind.
Yeah, and the biggest thing that I want to say is, like, this opens the door up for many others, right? And my question is, for these athletes, these 5-star guys, well, if you're going to another team with full of 5-star guys, what's the point, right? Like, personally, I would rather be the number one on my team instead of being with every one of those other 5-stars, right? Instead of playing for an Alabama or an Ohio State, going to Notre Dame or going to a team like Clemson, like a team those aren't getting that many 5-stars, maybe that's opening doors up for those athletes. I don't know.
I mean, a lot of it comes down to your exposure, right? Ohio State has some of the best exposure in the country. They're playing, night games, prime time, because they are one of the titans of college football. I would put them in the tier 1 right now is Alabama, Clemson, and Ohio State. And there's nobody else. There's nobody in that like else in that tier 1. And as a Notre Dame fan, I will willfully admit that we are not in that tier 1.
Can you just clarify? Mississippi State is not in that, correct? Just want to
Mississippi State, Ole Miss,
Ole Miss, none of that is in there, right?
Egg Bowl's cool, I guess.
Playing like I'm a Mississippi State or an Ole Miss fan. The Southern Miss Gold.
Oh no, we were coming at you.
Southern Miss Golden Eagles might be the best football team in the nation next year.
Hey, they got Frank Gore Jr., right?
There you go.
Let's go. But I think part of the Ohio State news comes with them getting the number 1 recruit for the class of 2022, JT Tui Malau, and I apologize if I pronounce that incorrectly, but it's Ohio State's getting to the point now where they're starting to steal Pac-12 recruits. He's from the state of Washington. So to be able to go out and steal a Pac-12 guy like that, get him out of USC and Washington hands, Ohio State, they're going to be good for a while. I think they have the number 1 and number 2 receiver for the 2022 class as well, which is insane. So that kid's going to be a dual sport athlete, play basketball and football at the University of Ohio State. That's good. That's tough to do. That's pretty damn impressive. So, gotta love some college football. I can't wait. Just a couple weeks back. Max, what Miami done? What's Miami done in the last 2 decades? Come on now. Derek King, he's good. I got whatever.
You can catch Pranav every single Tuesday on the Right Way Sports Network show. Pranav refuses to debate with me because he knows what would happen in Annihilation. But anyway, guys, there's something that we didn't get a chance. I personally didn't get a chance to touch on. Daniel didn't get a chance to touch on, that we haven't got an opportunity to touch on. I think Cody and Alex, you guys touched on it last week, so I apologize if I'm making you regurgitate information you already said. But I really want to talk about the new NCAA rule that came down where college athletes are now getting paid.
Yep.
My take on it is a little bit different, a little bit interesting. I think that this is going to – I was talking to a buddy of mine who goes to Clemson University, and I said, I think that this can open up a can of worms. I think it should be regulated in some instances, right? Because I think what happens is now it's going to be very difficult for coaches on the college level to confuse players who actually want it versus players who, are just pretty much doing it because they're getting paid to, essentially. Because what you'll see now is think about it. A lot of the reasons why these guys want to go pro, it's not because they want to mash their brains, and it's not because they don't want to have some type of quality of life by the time they're 55 or anything like that. It's literally because the reason why they want to go pro in whatever sport that they're trying to go pro in is because they want to be able to provide for their family. I've heard a lot of people give their different takes and opinions on it, but I just don't know if this is a positive going forward. I mean, I think I just saw something where Master P's son signed a $2 million deal. I don't know. Because then what happens with the player, right? Who's not a 5-star recruit or not being touted highly or anything like that, but they wind up having a Joe Burrow-esque type of ascension, essentially. What happens to them versus the player that's getting paid and all this kind of stuff?
I have a thing there that's great for those guys, like the guys making $2 million.
Yeah,
but I don't think that's what this rule is for. This rule is for the guys who the really nobody at a smaller school like Southern Miss who is struggling to feed themselves, but now they can sign a couple autographs for couple Southern Miss fans and get paid for it. Or
that's fine. No, but do you agree that there should be a cap at some point?
Yeah, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
At some point, it gets a little excessive, and there's definitely loopholes. This could get scary because I seen a news article about Miami billionaire has already found a loophole to figure out ways to raise money, only to then funnel it back to players. So it's gonna grow into this thing that I think is gonna become more of like, go to this school to get paid and never go to any of these schools because they can't pay you, which is a very scary dynamic because then you're going to get 10 to 15 colleges who get all the recruits and then everywhere else is left with nothing, which is extremely scary. With that being said, I think it's a necessary evil. They have to figure out some way to pay these players without, of course, killing the college football games. There's got to be somewhere in the middle you can meet. But I mean, these college players aren't just workers to work for no pay. They're making the colleges so much money. It's about time they can capitalize on their own name.
Yeah.
I think it's a necessary first step, right? For these athletes. I've already seen many athletes, some of my friends in college they're saying, hey, I'm signed with this place. I'm signed with this place. Like, I'm doing this as an endorsement deal. I think that's cool, right? I think that's something that's necessary. But as Malik was saying, it's at some point it's going to start backfiring, right? And that's where the NCAA, they got to be on their toes about this. They got to see, okay, crap, maybe this school is getting screwed over. Maybe this type of player is getting screwed over. That's what they got to see. But I'm happy with it. It's a great start. Let these players get paid for their name and their likeness.
But so you do agree that there should be a cap, you're saying?
Yes, I agree because there's got to be some sort of regulation. There has to be.
I'm going to go on the other end. I absolutely do not think there should be a cap. I think there should be absolutely zero limit, and here's why. Businesses are businesses for a reason, right? They have to get a return on their investment for their money. Now, is this absolutely going to be a handful for compliance officers? I get it, right? That they are going to have a nightmare job for the next couple of years while this gets sorted out. That being said, businesses are going to come to the realization that whether sponsoring athletes is worth their time and money, because that's what it is. At the end of the day, it is a marketing move to have these athletes either endorsed or branded with them. So this does, and it's not, by and large, I don't think it's going to change the scape of the major college sports, right? So men's basketball and men's college football are the two predominant money makers in college athletics. They are the only two sports that are green from a, evaluation standpoint year after year. I don't think by and large, it's going to change much on that end because guys are going to go places where they can either get exposure or they are going to go places where they can play immediately and make an impact on the field. And I don't think that's changed. What are we going to say that Alabama is going to get better recruits now? Like, they have had some of the best recruiting classes in the last 20 years. They've been top 5, I think 19 of the last 20 seasons. So I don't think it's going to change the landscape of college football and the landscape of college basketball. Guys like Zion were always going to sign major deals. It's now just coming sooner. Guys like, Trevor Lawrence were always going to get paid. That was never in discussion. To me, it's now about the non-major sport athletes and about women being able to get paid for what they are able to do. And the two immediate, just two examples of this that I found. The first, Haley Cruz is a recent graduate from the University of Oregon, played softball, right? Professional softball is not an incredibly high-paying sport, but she has 728,000 combined followers between Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. That is an audience that can be promoted to, endorsed to, sold to through her. It's people who are able to build up a social media following that I think are going to be able to reap the biggest reward from this. Guys like Destroying, guys like the two twins who play basketball for Fresno State. Haley and Hannah Cavender, 3.3 million followers on TikTok. They're probably not going to be able to make phenomenal amounts of money from playing in the WNBA. Their endorsement deals are where they're going to be able to rake in the cash, and that's what makes the difference.
And I know Alex wants to say something just real quick. We're not disagreeing. That's what I think. We agree with that. They need to, and that's what I think is the biggest plus out of this, right? And I said this on my Twitter the other day. These athletes, right? Like I was saying, a 7th round pick in the NFL. Let's say he has this extraordinary talent. He's an extrovert. He's making videos inside the locker room. He has over 200,000 followers. He may not be a good athlete, and then he may be weighing his career saying, hey, I can go be on the edge of an NFL roster, or I can go use my 200,000 YouTube subscribers and make a living off of that. So I think we can all agree here that the money is a good thing. I just think there's got to be some sort of limit. But Alex?
I think I've changed my mind halfway through this. Should there be a limit? Maybe
don't say Cody's that smooth now.
No, should there
smooth like butter,
mulling over? Now hear me out. Should there be a limit for player to player? Maybe not. But one thing, you're not in college to get rich. But when the college that is throwing you out there on the field to hurt yourself is making billions off of you, you deserve a little slice of that pie. But what I'm saying is, should individuals be able to get paid what they're worth? Sure. The problem is okay, let's say I'm a billionaire. I'm a billionaire. I own the biggest business. I'm Jeff Bezos. I'm a Southern Miss fan. So I decide, I'm just going to endorse all Southern Miss players and pay them $1 million. So at that point, you are getting paid to go to a school. In the NIT, a school's not allowed to say, hey, here's $100,000, come here. But if I'm a billionaire and I say, I'm just going to endorse every single player who goes to this team and have them, I don't know, take a picture and post it on their Instagram, then at that point, I can see where it's starting to get a little crazy, because then there's an unfair advantage from team to team. Now, if one player, depending on, no matter how good he is, goes to Alabama, or if he goes to Tulsa, if he can market his name and make himself a big enough deal, yeah, give him whatever he wants.
That's up to the NCAA. That is something that the NCAA needs to figure out, right? They are a big enough corporation. They should be able to figure out how to be able to disseminate from the guys who say, hey, we're going to give you $10,000 to come play for the University of Miami, or the guys who are saying, hey, we are going to pay you $10,000 to market, body armor or whatever, right? So ultimately, that's something that the NCAA is going to have to figure out, and I'm sure there are going to be issues at some point. There always are. But there have been issues with players getting paid in the past. DeAndre Ayton got the entire Arizona basketball organization, in deep trouble. There's been FBI investigations into college basketball for years.
I think that happens all the time. And I don't think it's talked about enough. I think
what's different? That
happens all the time. Yeah, now it's just brought to light. So yeah.
Let the players get paid.
Okay. I see both sides of it. I personally think that should be regulated, but I think it's going to be one of those things that are going to be talked about for a long time. I'm sure that this will be an ongoing conversation. We'll see. We will see what happens. Anyway, let's keep it moving. And unfortunate news, basically Columbus Blue Jackets lost a player throughout. I believe it was over 4th of July, due to a fireworks incident. I know, Cody, there were some things you wanted to touch on about that. So I don't know too much of the situation. I remember hearing about it, but yeah, floor is yours.
Yeah. So Matiss Kivlenieks, and I apologize if I pronounce that name incorrectly. Hockey player, age of 24, passed away in Michigan over 4th of July weekend in a fireworks accident. Details are still kind of loose, but it appears that he either got hit in the chest or head area, and that was enough. He was pronounced dead at the hospital. These are my least favorite things to talk about in sports. Sports are a light and a shining moment for a lot of people. I mean, it's what I look forward to at the end of the day, right? I come home from work. I am fortunate enough that I get to talk with you guys about sports, and I get to watch it on TV. There's not much more that I could ask for, but this is tough to see somebody's dreams and a family be devastated in a manner, especially when you have accidents like this that, who knows if it could have been prevented. It's unfortunate. It's terrible. I hate to say every July 4th, be safe. I know some of you guys still have fireworks watching. Please, I know the JPP jokes are jokes. Obviously, they're always made, but at the end of it, he's lucky to still be here, right? Matiss was not so lucky. So, it's something that the sports world and the hockey world kind of came to a standstill for a little bit in the midst of the Stanley Cup Finals. So just a reminder, be safe. These athletes are human. They are people. Especially, I know a lot of people fire some mean tweets at some guys. They have a bad game. They lose a bet. They make your fantasy team lose a week. Look, they're just living. All right. They are trying to win harder than anybody. I promise you. So it's moments like this to just kind of make you stop and be thankful that we have, what we do. So thoughts and prayers going out to the Kivlenieks family.
For sure. Does anybody else have anything to add? Or okay. All right. I want to keep it going, guys. Thanks for that, Cody. Want to keep it, guys, going. We want to talk about a little bit of NBA action. NBA Finals, first game recap. Nothing too much shocked me by what I saw. I had the Suns are the team that I picked to win the championship this year. So it's not too shocking to me what's going on. Obviously, I'm curious to see if Giannis is actually fully healthy still. He doesn't. I don't know.
I tell you what, he looked good for a guy who was coming off what looked like a really tough injury.
Yeah,
he looked good out there. Looked physical, played tough. Now, obviously, the Bucks didn't get the outcome that they wanted, but man, that dude must have some Greek freak must continue to the ligaments of the knee, because I was hurting watching that play. So the fact that he was able to play in game one, and thank God, because the final, we're fortunate enough, and Dario Saric obviously tore his ACL, which is unfortunate in game one. But the fact that we are able to see the star-studded finals, with Giannis, with Chris Paul, with Booker, you love to see it.
I agree. I'm thanking God that Giannis is back, not only because it makes things more interesting, but when Chris Paul wins his ring, there's already excuses coming out. The Lakers were injured. The Nuggets were. There's so many teams in the playoffs that were injured. The Nets had trouble with injuries. I don't care. And when Chris Paul gets his ring, I don't want that to be another excuse. Oh, Giannis was injured in the finals. No, Giannis at full health. Suns in 5, like I said 2 weeks ago.
Listen, I don't think anybody's discounting, what the Suns are doing. At least I know I'm not. But Alex, we've got to talk about the elephant in the room. Let's talk, because I feel like you took a shot at my guy, LeBron there.
LeBron's my guy. I love
LeBron. Look, because Cody, what were you about to say?
He makes me so like tweeting after the game. He's like, my boy, Chris Paul. I get it. He's the godfather of your kid. I like, you got to root for Chris Paul. I don't know why, like somehow LeBron is going to make his way onto the boat in Phoenix or wherever, however they do that parade.
Yeah.
I just feel like LeBron's going to show up and it makes me it's so frustrating.
I personally miss LeBron not being in the finals this year.
It hurts.
It sucks not to see it. Be quiet, Daniel.
It's cool. Like listen, I think it's nice to have a little break, but like I would have much rather seen.
That's what I say about you when you text me in the morning.
That's hilarious. You got jokes. Man's got jokes. I can mute him right now, but like I don't know. Like this finals is gonna be kind of boring. Like I hope that the Bucks can make it a series. Like I'm just not. I don't know. I would have much rather seen like the Bucks, you know, like I'm happy for the Suns. You know, I go to school in Arizona. I'm happy for the Suns. I'm happy for the Bucks to even be there, but I don't know. Like I agree. We need that story. There's no real storyline besides the Chris Paul. Like there's like I want to see more. Like this year's cool. I'm just looking forward to next year. To be honest.
Look on the bright side. Didn't you get to go to a game this year?
I did.
You get to say that you were a part of their champions. You get to witness the championship Suns team. It like you know.
Yeah, and like I
part
think
of the story.
Exactly. You know what? And I'm gonna go to the parade when it happens. I mean,
I'm sure because you're a bandwagoner.
I'm not a bandwagon. I'm still a Celtics fan. How about you? Who's your team? You just joined my team. How about that?
I am officially. Listen to me. I am officially a Boston Celtics fan. I don't care what anybody has to say. There's a story behind that. I'll put it this way: I rooted for them even when I was a child. I liked them when I was a child, but I was also a New Jersey Nets. A New Jersey Nets fan. A New Jersey Nets fan. When New Jersey moved to Brooklyn, I hate all New York sports. That's the thing about me because they take everything from Jersey. So after that, I was in limbo trying to find out where my next team was going to be. Never settled on a team, but I settled on a guy. I settled on LeBron James.
Oh.
So how are you – okay, so if the Lakers and the Celtics play – that is one of the biggest rivalries in professional sports.
It's tough.
Yeah, it's tough for rooting for 50% of the total NBA championships between the Lakers and the Celtics.
Logan, my little bro, what's going on, man? What's going on? Long time no see. Text me, man. I got a new number.
I'm not an NBA team fan either, so I get what you're saying, Malik. But hey, I might join y'all with the Celtics. Let's see.
That's what I'm talking about.
If Dame gets over there,
that's what I'm talking about.
I might be stunting the Celtics jersey as well. But yeah, I root for both LeBron James and Damian Lillard whenever they're on the court. In my eyes, they're the best players in the world.
Let Pranav Sriram hear you say that.
Yeah, no, I mean, like you can't tell me that with the straight face that Dame's the best player in the world. Like,
it's his favorites. It's his favorites.
I got a soft spot. Like Jason Tatum.
Listen, it's one thing to say. It's one thing to say that those are your favorite and you believe that they're the best in the world. There is a whole entirely different thing to say. Jason Tatum is Kobe Bryant 2.0.
Yeah,
that's all I'm saying.
That's a little wild.
I don't know who said it, but I can remember. A few months back, someone said that.
Whoever said that.
And let's talk about how old Tatum is, man. Tatum's still a baby. He's the baby goat. He's 23 years old, man. He's got time, man.
Let me tell you something. Luka Doncic is the only guy in the NBA and the National Basketball Association that I'll be calling the baby goat.
Okay, why? Like Luka is better than Jason Tatum, but Jason Tatum is going to be a top 5 player in this league. He's going to be a top 3 player in this league.
That, but he's not better than Luka.
That's cool, but
all I'm saying is if Luka had the team that Jason Tatum had.
Look, either way, neither one of them is a baby goat. How are we talking about GOAT is greatest of all time? How are you going to sit here and say that?
Luka has the ability to do something really special.
I'm with Cody on this one. What is a baby GOAT?
That is a phrase that in the sports world is thrown around entirely too much, and I blame Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes.
He's baby GOAT.
How can you say that? They haven't done anything yet. Okay, the greatest of all time. We're talking. If you were talking either LeBron or Jordan, whoever is your GOAT right? You are talking multiple championships. You are talking multiple MVPs, first-team All-NBA, a decade and then some of dominance. How can
Cody's on fire
is
tonight.
that yet?
There's one baby goat in the NBA, and that's Michael Jordan because he's the second best of all time. So we can make him the baby, and then LeBron, of course, is the father goat.
Cody, like, let me just like actually understand this. Michael Jordan started somewhere. LeBron James started somewhere. They didn't start with a championship handed to them. They didn't. Luka isn't starting with a championship handed to him.
They were good young players.
Let's actually discuss this. Let's look at Patrick Mahomes, for example. The reason why we call him Baby Goat is because he is on pace right now. If he's once again on pace, if he's were to keep this
on
up,
pace for what? On pace for what?
So
he's on pace with the same career trajectory as Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah,
no, he's not. No, he's not.
Thank you. He won one championship early. So did Aaron Rodgers. He won one in like the early 2010s.
Did he win that in his second year? Did he win the MVP? Did he win the MVP in his second year? No, he did not. No, Patrick Mahomes did. It doesn't matter what year you
won it, as long as he did it.
We're talking about career trajectory, right? Patrick Mahomes'
career trajectory can mean a lot of different things. What I'm saying, I'm not talking about year by year in comparison. I'm talking. Okay, thank you, Chipper. He said what he is not on pace.
Nobody's on pace for Tom Brady.
Right?
Nobody. No franchise has as many Super Bowl wins. Franchises, these teams have been around since the 50s, have as many Super Bowls as Tom Brady. Nobody is on his level. And that's this LeBron's dominance for the last 18 years is unfathomable. Michael Jordan's peak is unfathomable. There are certain things where, like, I understand where you say that, like, Luka Doncic has the potential to be one of the greats. But you can't go out here and call him I just think Baby Goat is thrown out. So how many guys do you call the Baby Goat that never even get thrown into the top 10 conversation? You know what I mean? We were talking about guys who were like coming out of college, like these are going to be some of the greatest quarterbacks of all time and some of the greatest scorers of all time.
I didn't say that. What I'm saying is proven in their actual league. Patrick Mahomes has proven what he can be in the NFL. Luka Doncic is proving this postseason. He proved what he can be. He proved that he can put a team on his back. Yes, they didn't win that series, but he proved that if he were to get one more player on his team, somebody that's not like a 7'1" role player like Kristaps Porzingis, that he can carry his team. So what I'm saying is I'm not talking about a college player projecting to the league. I'm talking about a guy who has proven that he can do it, right? I'm not saying win a championship yet because Luka hasn't proven that, but he's proven to be the guy on his team that can take them to that next level. That's what I'm talking about. And Baby Goat is such a funny phrase. I throw it around because it's funny, but the only guys, and just to clarify, the only people I would consider that have the potential in the NFL, Patrick Mahomes, because we've seen what he can do, and in the NBA. I say that about Tatum. Tatum is like Tatum's cool, but he hasn't shown that it factor. As a Celtics fan, I'll admit that. But Luka, on the other hand, like Zion too, but I don't know. I can't put Zion above Luka. Like Luka can be the future of this league. He can be.
I wouldn't put Zion above Jason Tatum.
They're on the same semantics. Tier. They're on the same tier. I think they're on the same tier.
I want to see what Zion can do with some decent coaching and a decent player base around him. Like Brandon Ingram's a good piece, but like that Pelicans roster is.
Yeah, I'm not gonna. I was gonna go in there just now, but I'm not going to. So while we're on it, let's keep talking about the NBA. Wow, we went to the NFL. I know Daniel was telling me, please, I want to talk about the NFL today. I want to talk about the NFL today in some way. I think that was his fix. But who is the best player in the finals? Listen. Okay. I know the easy answer, guys, to this question is, Giannis, Antetokounmpo. I know that's the easy answer to the question. I think that's a coward's way out, and that's not what I'm going to say. And the fact of the matter is he healthy fully? No, he's not. But if I had to choose who the best player in this finals is, I don't even like to say the best player. I would say the most important player to his team in the finals is CP3. I think Chris Paul is the engine for DeAndre Ayton too. I don't know. That's tough. DeAndre Ayton, Whoa! See, this is where these are moments where we would love to have someone. Wow, that's insane.
Let me talk about this, my guy Sensei. Like, first off, I'm going to say, listen, and I'm going to compare CP3 and Giannis, right? I think Giannis, like CP3, is much more impactful. Let me see. I think that this Bucks team, they showed against the Atlanta Hawks that they can do it without Giannis, right? Chris Middleton put up 41 points. They won without Giannis in the lineup, right? I'm not saying that they can win the finals without Giannis because I think both of them go hand in hand. Giannis is the better player all around than Middleton. But what I say all the time is, listen, and credit to Jake Sturgis, he also says this as well.
We don't credit Jake.
Giannis, I'm going to credit Jake. Giannis is the engine of the Bucks for the first 44 minutes of the game. But they need someone for that last 4. And the person for that last 4 is Chris Middleton. And that's not a shot at Giannis, right? Every great player needs somebody by their side, right? And I think Giannis needs that guy who can go and get it. They need that guy who can be the ball handler, the ball dominant guy. Somebody who could go and get a bucket. And that's Chris Middleton. So I'm not saying he's a better player than Giannis because all season long, all postseason long, Giannis has been the better player. And he's hurt right now. But Giannis needs a guy like Chris Middleton. So that's the point I'm trying to make.
Yeah, I don't think it's close. I'm going with the old geezer. Chris Paul is the most impactful player. Is the most impactful player in this finals. I mean, and look, I'm not going to get into all the stats and the comparing random things. I just know when I turn on this entire playoffs, and I talk about and I look at Chris Paul and then I look at Giannis. When they're healthy and on the court, Chris Paul has meant more to his team to me than almost anybody in the playoffs at all. I mean, I watch him and he looks like an absolute genius, maestro, setting the plays up, scoring in the mid-range. He is an absolute dog. And for that reason, I'm going Chris Paul's the best player in this finals, and it's not close.
Whoa. It's not close.
No. As far as impact,
okay, Alex, hold on. That's where we're going to stop.
The Suns don't make it out of the first round without Chris Paul.
Well, okay, hold.
The Bucks still make it out of the first round without Giannis.
But let's actually compare this because one, Chris Paul is not a top 10 player in the league right now. He's not, right? Chris Paul is not. Giannis is. Giannis. Okay, impact on the team. Chris Paul has had a huge impact on the team, right? DeAndre Ayton's credited him, said he's been a huge part of his success. But to act like Chris Paul's light years above Giannis, a guy who just put up 22 and 17 yesterday, a guy who's playing with a hyperextended knee.
As far as impact to their teams, I think I
agree with Al. I think there's different ways you can impact your team without putting up dominant stats.
That's cool. That's cool. But
we're not interested in being cool. We're interested in spitting facts. Right now, we're spitting facts. That's a fact. There's a ways you can impact your team without putting up incredible numbers. It's literally the exact same thing that Chris Paul did when he was on the Oklahoma City Thunders as well. He impacted his team in a positive manner, He elevates the talent around him.
Does Giannis elevate?
It's like what I do when you are. It's like what I do when you and I are on a show together. I elevate your.
So funny. That's so funny. Listen, because I just feel I
can't wait to go to your stand up, buddy. You got jokes.
I can't get behind this Giannis disrespect, acting like he's not even.
It's no one disrespecting Giannis.
You are literally disrespecting right now by saying.
No. Nobody's disrespecting Giannis.
Yes, you are.
Nobody's disrespecting Giannis. You asked us our opinion about who we felt was. And if you notice, I didn't say the best. I said who I said I'm going to change the question from the best. I said I'm going to change the question from the best. I'm going to go to the most impactful. The most impactful player on their team in the finals, right? In the finals is Chris Paul. If you ask me the same exact question about the Eastern Conference Finals for that team, guess what? Daniel? It wasn't Giannis. It was Chris Middleton. He was literally the reason why they're in the finals. Let's talk about it.
Whoa. He is not the reason why they are in the finals. He is not. He's not.
That's a fact.
It is not a fact. He is not the reason.
I mean, it's obviously a team collect. Okay, so now, okay, you want to nitpick my words? Let's nitpick my words. Then.
I will. Because you said it out of your own damn mouth. Right. You literally just said it.
But who had to uplift the talent, right? Who had to literally put the team on his back to help his team over that hump? Who had to do that, Daniel?
Who's
No,
hurt?
I don't give a damn. LeBron has been hurt. LeBron has played hurt. Players have played hurt. At this point of the season, nobody's completely healthy. So that can go out of the window. You say, who's hurt? The fact of the matter is, when Giannis
like Chris Paul wasn't hurt.
Right.
So, and let's talk about it, right? So you said that Chris Paul is the reason why they beat the Nuggets. Who didn't play in the first 2 games? And who still won those first 2 games? Answer that for me. Who didn't play? Chris Paul didn't play. You guys remember that? COVID? Or are we just forgetting about that? And who still won those first 2 games? Acting like Chris Paul is by far and away the most impactful. They still won without him. I'm not discrediting how impactful he is to their team because they're here because he's a part of this team. They don't. I think that's
the difference between you and us, though. We're not coming at you saying, "Oh, you're disrespecting Chris Paul," but you think because we're not saying, "Oh, Giannis, oh dear God."
No, that's
Giannis,
not what I'm saying.
You think because we're not praising Giannis off the tuba, we're
not at all.
him.
Not at all. It's because you're not even crediting him.
Giannis is a phenomenal player. Giannis is a phenomenal player, right? He's a 2-time MVP, 2-time defensive player, phenomenal player.
But you're not.
I literally just said that. What are you talking about?
But you're saying Chris Paul is not on a level way above Giannis. He is not. He is not.
Wait. Alex and Cody, did I ever say
Alex?
Chris
But
Paul?
Alex said it.
No,
Alex said
did I ever say that?
Because
look. We can all agree, right, that this it's not a one horse race, right? Like we're having a very heated debate between Giannis and Chris Paul, right? So it's not, Alex, I understand what you're saying, but it's not like Chris Paul is far and above greater than Giannis. That being said, when you remove Giannis out of the game, the impact is phenomenal. When you take Chris Paul off the team, the impact is phenomenal. And I think that's the difference because Chris Paul, you hear it in the locker room, you hear from Devin Booker, you hear from DeAndre Ayton. They have reiterated over and over and over again throughout this playoffs how important Chris Paul has been to their development, their play, and that team. From an in-the-game standpoint, the Suns can operate without Chris Paul. They've shown the ability to do that. The Bucks, without Giannis, have still shown the ability to win games, but their game changes entirely. They can't rely on his ability to. Giannis is a vacuum when it comes offensively. He draws in defenders. He frees up. He creates space for everyone around him. So on the floor impact, I think Giannis has a greater impact. But when you're talking just overall, if you're talking about who's more important to their team, it's Chris Paul.
And the question was who was more impactful.
No. You said no. The question was who's the best. I changed it to impactful because I said I wasn't. Because I said I personally wasn't going to pick who the best. I said I was going to pick, in my opinion, who was the most impactful. Let's make sure we clear that clear.
That's what I said. Who's the most impactful? And Cody literally said Giannis on the floor is the most impactful.
But Chris Paul to his team is more impactful.
But Chris Paul,
what matters?
More impactful.
Look, it's 3-1. Daniel, get out.
What do you mean? What do you mean? What do you mean?
What matters? What matters is how they perform on the court.
Games.
All together, everything.
Winning games. Exactly. Like all I'm saying is, listen, you guys were making points. Like Malik, you literally said, "Oh, Chris Paul is the reason why they won the final or the series against the Nuggets." He's not the main reason. You said that. You literally said yes, you did. You said who's the reason why they won the Eastern Conference? Not Giannis, but Chris Paul. And that's exactly what you said. So
I love how you are putting words in my mouth right now.
Go back and rewatch the show.
We will go back and rewatch the show. But I love how you're putting words in my mouth right now.
Not at all.
And you're luckily that I have short-term memory right now. That I
you do. You literally do.
I don't remember if I said that or not, but I can almost with a 100% certainty say I did not say that.
Better make it 99. I said I'm going to put this on Twitter and I'm going to clip it up and I'm going to show you exactly where.
How could I say that, Cody and Alex? Right? If I was literally the guy that said, how could I say that? If I wait, listen. How could I say that?
Did he say it, Cody? Did he?
Wait. Can you let me finish? Can you let me finish? How could Daniel say that I said that and I was literally the guy that said numbers that like Chris Paul impacts his team in an entirely different fashion? I said with beyond numbers.
Alex,
you brought up
say
Giannis's numbers, bro. Because then you literally just said that Chris Paul missed the last 2 games and they won without him. So literally, what are you talking about?
Malik did say that Chris Paul was the reason that they got to the finals, but that's true. Without Chris Paul, they're not in the finals.
Without Chris Paul, this team didn't make the playoffs.
Thank you. They're not.
Okay, hold on.
Okay,
you can't go there. You can't compare two completely different teams. Monty Williams, we know
completely different teams. Okay.
Yes, they were a completely different team last year. Yes, they were completely
a bunch of superstars came over.
Let's talk about it. Let's actually talk about this. Right?
Let's actually talk about it.
Let's talk about it. In the regular season. In the regular season, they were a bummy team. What did they do in the bubble? What did they start in the bubble? If they would have made the playoffs, they could have went on a run. They were 7-0 in the bubble. Devin Booker credits everything. He says that team is the team we have now. That team started in the bubble. That was without Chris Paul. They started in the bubble.
That's easy to say that. That's easy to say that.
And Devin Booker said that. Not any of us.
That's easy to say. That's easy to say that. That's easy to hindsight is 2020. That's easy to look back and say, oh well, this is the team that started. This all started here. What do you expect? I mean, you're trying to boost the morale of your guys. Chris Paul, in all likelihood, won't be there in 2 years, right? So like of course you're gonna he's becoming a leader of a part of that team. So that's not shocking to me. That's not shocking to me that that they're that's
and as Pranav said, Ayton was literally suspended last year, and they still had the number 8 seed. What are we talking about?
So DeAndre,
the number 8 seed. So the number 8 seed. Wait, no, because he's what Daniel's trying to do right now is Daniel's trying to make us look stupid. So
I'm not.
Daniel,
you
are.
You're trying to make
no.
That's what.
No,
it's 3v1.
I'm
not on the majority. I'm the minority.
So getting the number 8 seed, guys, you heard it right here live on the show. Getting the number 8 seed equates to them making the finals. You heard it from Daniel.
Well, I never once said that.
That's literally what you just said. You literally just said that.
I said last year they were the number 8 seed.
And what did you say just now when you referenced Pranav? Because what Pranav says is golden. What did you just say? So what are we? So talking what are we talking about here?
We're talking about a team that improved.
No, that's what literally what you just said. So you're making it seem like they were on the same trajectory. You're making it seem like without the addition, you're basically essentially what you're saying is that Chris Paul had minimal. I
never said that. Said that.
So why can't we so why can't we just agree that they're in a position that they're in large part due to Chris Paul's leadership?
Well, what do you mean in large part?
They
were making the playoffs this year without Chris Paul.
Not even close.
God.
They were making the playoffs this year.
This guy chats, man. This guy just chats.
Where are they going in the playoffs without Chris Paul?
I'm not saying that they go anywhere.
Are they going to the finals?
No. Are the Bucks going to the finals without Giannis? No.
Are they getting out of the first round?
What do you mean? Okay, let's talk. I mean, if I understand correctly, right? People don't even talk about the addition of People don't even talk about the addition of Drew Holiday.
Cool. If Giannis doesn't play on that team, if Giannis doesn't play on that team in the regular season,
no, they don't.
So they're both impactful. Like, what are we talking about here?
Daniel, you literally just tried to make a reference that the Suns are the exact. You literally talked about how.
You're going to the same
guy.
No, you said they're not the same team. You can't compare last year's team to this year's team.
That's literally what you said.
And then you went and said that, but the last year's team from the bubble carried over to this year. No,
it did.
Last year's team.
It did. Well, does momentum not? Hold on.
So are they the same team as last year or not?
What do you mean the same team? No team is the same team, but what they had in the bubble carried over to this year, and Chris Paul took them over the top. Is that not the truth?
Guys, end it here. We're gonna switch topics.
And I'm glad you guys are the majority.
Y'all should settle this in the octagon. Y'all should settle in the octagon.
Daniel would never step in the octagon with me, but guys, on topic for that you never would. But guess what?
That's different weight classes. We're talking heavyweight and flyweight here. Come on.
Listen. See, he tried to disrespect me, but I'm gonna let it.
Oh, how are we disrespecting?
I'm gonna let it slide. I'm gonna let it slide. It's all right. It's okay. It's all right. But anyway, since we're talking about the UFC, since we're talking about the octagon, guys, as you guys know, UFC 264 takes place this week in Vegas. We've got Poirier versus McGregor. I said McGregor. I almost said McGregor, but McGregor 3, the trilogy fight. But we're gonna get into that as the show proceeds. But first and foremost, we're going to talk about the rise of Suga Sean O'Malley. I know this is Alex's guy. Alex loves him, some Suga Sean O'Malley. So, Alex, without further ado, the floor is yours.
Suga Sean is, he's not even looked at by anyone as a top dog as far as talent goes in the UFC. No one's calling him a champion or even a contender, really. But this guy has done something that almost you never see, and that's he's been able to market himself that Suga Sean doesn't Sugar Sean doesn't need the UFC. I don't think Sugar Sean. I don't think Sugar Sean needs the UFC at all. I think Sugar Sean could go to any publication. He could fight under his own publication. I think he is growing a following that is making him a big deal and making his name bigger than just another good fighter in the UFC. And I think that's another thing that we're going to see a lot more fighters do as far as, building their name up in other ways. We're going to see, and of course, in UFC this Saturday, we are going to see another right hand from Sugarland, and he's going to win the next round.
I like that. That kind of rhymed.
Right
He
hand
says
from
it.
Sugarland,
right hand
bro.
from Sugarhand. But I want to talk about something that you just said. Something you just said. And you see, I'm a little bit different. So I run my own sports company called The Right With Sports Network, if you guys don't know yet. But
Subscribe on YouTube.
subscribe to UFC on YouTube. Download TWS mobile app. Follow our guys on all their social media platforms. Nice plug. No, but in all seriousness, you said Sean O'Malley doesn't need the UFC.
No. Now,
Basically,
don't get me wrong.
Whoa.
See, here we go. He's going to make
Sean O'Malley does not need the UFC. So essentially what you're saying is Sean O'Malley is bigger than the brand. Sean O'Malley is bigger than the organization.
That's not at all what I'm saying. I'm just saying.
That's like saying Daniel Alameda is bigger than TWSN because he's such a bright star. And he's just so great. That's like saying Aiden Marr. That's like saying Cody. That's like saying you.
Let me rephrase.
Okay, rephrase.
No other fighter in Sugar Sean's position right now could be able to leave the UFC and have the success that he would be able to.
What position is he in right now?
He's not a top contender. He's not a number one fighter. You never see these guys that are ranked, maybe barely ranked, become such huge deals and be able to grow a following that's outside of the UFC. Normally guys like him would be on no one would care about this fight, but because he's Sugar Sean O'Malley, everyone's tuning in to see him fight a guy who's never been in the UFC before.
And just to add on to Alex's point, I think it's about his brand, right? That's what this is about. That's what he's saying, because there is no fighter that I can really recall right now outside of the top 10, because he's not even ranked right now, right? Sean O'Malley is not ranked, and there is no fighter that is generating as much buzz as he is, whether it's on social media, on TikTok, making stupid videos, calling out people on Twitter. He's built this brand. It'd be a shame if he could
make money off of those videos, right?
It would be a shame, but he can, because he is, right? And that's what I completely agree with what you're saying. The only point is does he have that if he doesn't fight anymore? And I don't know, but I can completely agree with you. He would succeed with a brand because of who he is, how entertaining he is, the hair, everything, the whole do about him. I completely agree with you on that.
I don't watch MMA fights that aren't UFC typically. If Sugar Sean left the UFC and went to some other brand, I would watch his fights.
Guys, sorry about right now. YouTube is down. So for all of our followers who are trying to figure out where to follow us, I don't know if you can hear me at all. Follow us. You can check out the live stream on Twitter right now. I know we were just bringing the house down with all these heated debates. It's the most electrifying show that you can find on Wednesday nights. We broke YouTube. The guys that broke YouTube.
Never mind.
Tweet it out. I'm gonna put it in my bio.
Like when you put it on your resume, what are you known for? Breaking YouTube.
Love it.
Sorry, continue. I apologize.
No, I think we pretty much were just talking about his brand and how if he went to another publication I don't know, and I don't really
Bellator.
I don't know like Bellator, I don't know personally, his star wouldn't be as bright, but he would still have a star that others would just completely fizzle out.
And that's all I'm saying.
Listen, there are certain brands, right? Like if you build up a guy the correct way, the right way, no pun intended there. But if you build the guy up the correct way, the right way, you can help them build into a star. This is a fact. These are things you can actually do. So UFC is doing a phenomenal job keeping the Sean O'Malley train alive right now. Because let me tell you something. We could say, Sean O'Malley could go to another brand and do well. But the fact of the matter is the UFC is feeding Sean O'Malley the bottom barrel. The bottom barrel of, by the way, the Warriors just hired Kenny Atkinson. But the UFC the UFC is feeding Sean O'Malley literally the bottom barrel of guys that they can find. You know this guy he's fighting, Chris Martino. He wasn't even signed to the UFC a few weeks ago or a few days ago. They signed him to a 1-fight contract. Why? Because all the real contenders in that division that were stepping up saying we want to shut this loud mouth, curly haired, guy up, whatever the case may be. They said, "Oh no, it's too dangerous for him. We need to protect the investment because they understand it's a business, right? It's a business.
He sells.
He sells. They need to protect their investment. It's the same reason why I don't let guys like Daniel Alameda go up against Pranav Sriraman. It's a business. Daniel's my guy. I don't need him getting destroyed in a debate. These are like so you have to protect. You have to protect the people that you believe in, the people that's going to catapult you to the next stardom. And that's the same thing with Sean O'Malley. Sean O'Malley, listen. You call it confidence. I don't call it confidence, but just think about it this way. Your promotion doesn't believe in you that much, or you can say they do believe in you that much. Put you on a main card clearly because they believe in your ability to stop the show and take them to Sugarland and all that kind of stuff. But they don't believe in you this much to the point where they said, no, it's too risky to give them a guy on the roster on short notice. We got to sign an outside guy.
But you're proving my point. How do you brand growing? Like, his brand is so big that even the UFC is saying,
is his brand that big?
Obviously, because
I don't
if it
think
was
so.
Another unranked guy, they wouldn't be trying to protect him like they're trying to protect Sugar.
Oh, man, no. I think they would.
Malik, a question for you. How do you know? Because, I remember people called out Sean O'Malley after
loss.
After whoever dropped out of this past fight. People were calling him out immediately after.
Yeah.
But how come those guys, like what I'm saying is, how do we know that it was his camp that went out of their way?
No, I'm not saying it's his camp that's doing it.
Okay.
I'm saying it's the UFC.
Yeah.
The UFC is making a conscious effort saying we don't want to put these guys up against Sean O'Malley because it's too big of a risk for him. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Because the first step what do you mean? How do we know that? We can literally say that there were guys lined up in Vegas who fought 2 weeks ago who got medically cleared who could have made the weight to fight. That said, I will fight. There were a bunch of guys, and you can find the tweets under Sean O'Malley's thing. There were a bunch of guys. Listen, so you mean to tell me out of all the 15 plus guys that said, "Hey, we want to fight Sean O'Malley," they couldn't find anybody, so they had to go sign a guy that wasn't even in a Bellator program. He was in a league lower than that, like an underground league. And they said, "You know what? You're the guy to fight Sean O'Malley. You are the guy to fight." Come on now.
I think a lot of those guys that came out to fight Sean O'Malley were just Twitter fingers. I don't think they were really trying to fight Sean
They
O'Malley.
were. The UFC saw that. The UFC saw that. So that
they got a little bit of a rise. Okay, is it not more risky to put Sean O'Malley against a nobody? Because if he loses that nobody, it hurts his reputation a lot better than if he loses to one of the actual guys.
They took a guy that literally got knocked out in his last 2 fights.
I mean,
who has no business in the UFC. No, like understand what I'm trying to say. I'm not saying Sean O'Malley is scared to fight these guys. That's not what I'm saying. But the moment the UFC gave Sean O'Malley a step up in competition, which was against Marlon Vieira, when they gave him a step up in competition, what happened? He lost. And he still hasn't come to terms with the losses. He's still walking around saying he's undefeated. He's still saying he's the only undefeated fighter. That's a fact. I think that there's a lot of red flags when it comes to Sugar Sean O'Malley, and the UFC is fully aware of that.
Yeah, but I mean, the fight that he has coming up Saturday, easy money. He's minus 1,000 right now. Like, you rarely see that in the UFC. Minus 1,000 to win. Unbelievable.
That's insane.
I mean, I'm not going to put money on it because I'm not going to bet $100 to win $1. Like, that's not how I operate.
What is the round one knockout odds? That's what you want to look at.
Round one knockout odds. I'm sure we could pull that up. Method of victory.
And I mean, of course he should. If honestly, Sean O'Malley should be a minus 2,500, favorite, because the guy that he's fighting literally did a UFC presser today and says, "Oh, I just like entertaining fights. I like to dominate or be beaten up." What?
Yeah, he's getting knocked out in the first minute. That's all I hear.
What?
Yeah, the current method in round combo that is the favorite is Sean O'Malley by knockout in round one at plus 130.
Right.
So,
hammer that.
That is unbelievable. I have never seen odds like that. So
I think this guy is literally, his face is going to get rearranged. But guys, for the last topic, we've got Conor McGregor. fighting against Dustin Poirier. Conor McGregor versus Dustin Poirier live, UFC 264 main event in the trilogy bout. Now, Cody, I'm gonna let you go first. I'm gonna give my opinion last on it. What are your thoughts? Where do they go from here? What are your thoughts on this? Who do you got winning?
Okay, so put a little context behind it. Dustin Poirier is currently the favorite to win this fight by a slim margin. He's minus 126. Conor McGregor's minus 102. I am behind McGregor, and the reason being is call this a hunch, call it a superstition, call it is what it is. I think he's coming into this fight with a little more confidence. I think he's coming into this fight with a little more desire, and then I also think technically he's switched up his stance a little bit. And Malik, I'm sure you're going to get into that more, but from what I've seen, he's switched it up a little bit back to what he beat Dustin with the first time. I'm going with McGregor. Give me the underdog money here. But far and above the most entertaining fight we've had in a while. So I am absolutely juiced for it, but it'll be a good ending to a great card in my mind.
Alex?
It comes with a heavy heart that I think McGregor loses this fight. And not only will he lose this fight, he will lose his reputation. I mean, if McGregor loses this fight, no one's looking at McGregor as a threat anymore. Let's be real. It's a threat to win a championship. No one's thinking about him like that. And I love McGregor. I'm a huge McGregor fan, but when I watched him years and years ago, if this fight was happening, if we had today's Dustin against the McGregor from years and years ago, I'm taking McGregor easy. But
because McGregor, they're both the same age. So if you were going to take 27-year-old McGregor against 32-year-old Dustin Poirier, I'd hope he'd whoop his ass.
Right, but the difference is that Dustin doesn't seem like he's lost that hungry. I think McGregor has. It just looks like it sometimes. McGregor came up having a chip on his shoulder and, just acted like a rabid dog, always having to beat somebody, get the next thing. He's conquered everything. Like McGregor, he's the rich guy. He's in the commercials. He has the whiskey brands. I don't know if he's in commercials. I'm not sure how brand friendly he is, but you know what I mean. He's just he's conquered everything. And I think it showed in that last fight. He kind of looked to me like he kind of didn't want to be in there and this is a thing in McGregor's entire career. Once he feels like he might not be that guy, once he feels like he can't walk over someone, you kind of start to see a little bit of quit in McGregor. And now that he's already accomplished so much, he doesn't have that chip on his shoulder anymore. He's not as hungry anymore. I don't think he cares as much anymore.
So
for that reason, I'm taking Dustin.
So I think you're overthinking things, right? And I'm an overthinker. So I know when I see something happening, right? I just think, because if you actually watch the fight and break it down, we all broke it down here at TWSN. Credit to Malik, set it up and everything. We had about 10 people in there. We watched the fight. The biggest part about that fight was Dustin kept kicking Conor's lead leg, right? So I don't really know too much about the stance change, but I know for a fact that leg was beat the hell up. And I'm sorry, I don't see he lost it, right? I don't see he lost the hunger because he was hitting Dustin, right? He was hitting Dustin in the post-fight press conference. Dustin said, I was rocked. He said he hit me a couple times. So he didn't lose the power. He didn't lose his skill. He didn't. Dustin just hit him with a couple big shots at the end when his leg was a balloon, and he won, right? So that's what I'm going with McGregor, right? I think that McGregor is by far and away the better striker and showed that in their last fight. He didn't lose that. So I think if he's able to make that adjustment to not get kicked in his lead leg, I think he wins the fight. So, and I know Malik wants to get into it. And I'm not going to go off of the fact that he looks like he's lost it because I don't see him losing that it factor. But the final thing I will say is if he does lose this fight, his chance at a title is pretty much gone, right? Because now you got Poirier up there. Now you got Gaethje. You got a lot of people going up for the contention for the belt. If he loses this fight, I don't know when he gets another shot.
He needs this.
All right, Malik, we are at 1 hour and 8 minutes into the show. So you look like you're about to preach. So I just want you to know the time frame so you could go back and watch it because I feel like you're about to get in a zone and you're going to want to revisit this. Let us hear it, brother. Let's hear it.
Cody, if there was a nickname that I could give myself when it comes to these UFC predictions at times, it's a nickname that is already taken. It's taken by the guy that is going to win on Saturday night. It would be Mystic Mac. That would be a name that I would give myself. And the reason why I call myself that is because I successfully predicted Dustin Poirier would knock Conor McGregor out the last fight. Not only did I successfully predict.
Whoa.
Not only did I successfully predict, it's a little bit of a tongue twister there, but not only did I successfully predict that Dustin Poirier would knock Conor McGregor out. If you guys remember, I even put the betting slip up. I predicted the round in which it would happen. Conor McGregor is going to absolutely blitz through Dustin Poirier. He's going to make it look easy. One thing Conor had put up, and I probably should have put his tweet up. He put up murderous shots. Murderous shots. That's what he had tweeted out. So, I think a lot of people, let's talk about it first and foremost. I think Conor McGregor is the better mixed martial artist out of the two. I think Dustin Poirier is the more well-rounded guy because he can wrestle and stuff like that. You don't really have to worry about Conor wrestling as much. But I think a lot of people are putting a lot of stock into that fight. It's a little too much stock into the fight. There are a couple things I'm going to break down to you guys really quickly. I'm going to explain to you why a lot of people are picking Dustin Poirier and why the fight turned out the way it turned out. Conor McGregor had not fought in the UFC like a true mixed martial artist fight since 2018. I'm sorry. From there, he was paying attention a lot of the times. Fighting boxers. He fought Floyd Mayweather, and even in the fight leading up to the Dustin Poirier fight, remember he was trying to find a guy that had the same exact stance as Manny Pacquiao. Manny Pacquiao and Conor McGregor had an agreement that they basically talked about in place already. That was supposed to be the boxing match, but the stipulation was Conor just wanted to make sure he showed a little bit more activity before he jumped in there with Manny. So he went in there under the impression, I could beat Dustin Poirier. I've beaten him already. This guy's not on my level. So Conor McGregor, when he fought Dustin Poirier, came on a boxer stance. He was piecing him up in the first round. He was really doing damage to Dustin Poirier. But from a boxer standpoint, he was heavy on his lead leg, which allowed Dustin Poirier, who's not really that athletic, guys, he's very stiff, especially since having his hip surgery. He was able to easily kick Conor McGregor in the calf kicks. Whereas to oppose, why is that significant? And why I brought up the calf kicks? Conor McGregor and Dustin Poirier fought the first time. Conor was standing in a karate stance. If you don't know what a karate stance is, the best thing I could tell you is either look at Conor McGregor or watch Stephen Wonderboy Thompson fight. It's a bouncing stance, in and out, in and out, in and out. Well, when Dustin Poirier was trying to blast Conor McGregor to the leg kicks in the first fight, he kept, unfortunately, not getting him in the calf, but kicking him in the thigh because the timing was just off. And every single time he went in for a kick, Conor would blast him with a right and a left, a 1-2 straight down the middle. Well, this time Conor made it very easy for Dustin to blast those kicks and actually hit the target because he was so heavy on his lead leg, and Dustin was able to chip away. And we all know how that fight ended. Dustin Poirier wound up knocking Conor McGregor out after his leg gave out. I think this time around, if there's anything that I know about Conor, now I'm not really that big of a fan of Conor McGregor, but the fact is this: whenever his back is against the wall, when people are doubting him, especially in rematches, he always shows up. The fact that Conor McGregor is at plus money against Dustin Poirier is absolutely insane to me. I expected on fight night the gap to close a little bit like that. But right now, the fact that Conor McGregor is, I think, the plus 110 underdog versus Dustin Poirier is absolutely insane to me. I think Conor McGregor is the faster mixed martial artist. He starts fast, and I think Dustin Poirier starts slow. I think Conor popped shots off of Dustin Poirier in the second fight, and Dustin was able to eat a lot of those shots because he was kicking Conor in the leg and things of that nature. But like to Cody's point, Conor's going back to his karate stance. He's going to bounce in and out. Dustin Poirier isn't at the same guy that he was when they fought at featherweight back before his hip surgery, right? So the guy is not as athletic. He can't move as fluent anymore. So he has a tendency, and I want you guys to watch this when you see it on Saturday. He's done it in every single fight. Conor races to the middle to take the center of the octagon to establish his position, and Dustin immediately blacks up. What I've pretty much decoded from what Conor was saying when he said murderous shots is I think that Conor's going to take the center, and Conor, a lot like when he fought Cowboy, Conor fought Cowboy, I think we're going to see Conor blast some really heavy shots at Dustin. And I think Dustin is going to do what Dustin always does. He did it in the Dan Hooker fight. He did it in Conor McGregor 1. He did it in Conor McGregor 2. Dustin has a tendency to always back up against the octagon, back up against the cage and cover up. Well, that doesn't bode well for guys going up against Conor McGregor. Ask Chad Mendez, ask Cowboy Cerrone, what happens when you back up against the octagon when you're fighting Conor McGregor. My prediction of this fight, guys, we're going to see a murder. We're gonna see a murder on TV, and I question. People want to talk about Conor McGregor's mentality. I question Dustin's. Here it is. You had a championship fight. Let's face it. Let's face a fact. Nate Diaz knows what we all know. The Conor McGregor trilogy fight is always there, right?
Yep.
Dustin talks about wanting to be a champion, but how bad do you really want to be a champion? The championship fight was right there for you. You go on to beat Charles Oliveira. You versus Conor McGregor 3 for the lightweight belt is that much bigger. But you said no to Charles Oliveira. You said no to the Michael Chan. You said, no, I want to fight Conor McGregor for a third time. We owe it to one another. To me, all the while I think it was smart business, was also bad business because the Conor McGregor fight was always going to be there. Does that make sense, guys? The fight was always going to be there because you guys were 1-1. Conor was always going to agree to that fight. You could have went and fought Charles Oliveira with the belt and then fought Conor again for the third time, and it would have been that much bigger of a fight. Conor, people want to talk about Conor being in Dustin's head and trying to get in Dustin's head. He's already in Dustin's head. The fact that Dustin Poirier accepted this fight against Conor, he's in his head. And Dustin doesn't even realize it, and nobody's talking about it. Dan Hardy's the only real guy in the MMA world that's really talking about it. This fight is going to hurt Dustin much more. Let me tell you why it's not just a loss this time. Conor McGregor is going to take everything that Dustin Poirier has. Think about what I'm saying. Conor McGregor is going to take everything that Dustin Poirier has. Conor goes out, he beats Dustin. He's now the number 1 contender. If Conor goes out, beats Charles Oliveira for the belt, you think Dustin's next in line for the belt? No, Conor, I already beat you twice, Dustin. Move up to the weight. Move up in weight or move down in weight. Because I'm not fighting you again. I'm not fighting you again. Conor is a big-time risk guy. He's a big-time risk guy. He's the type of guy to make you think you have a chance and rip your jugular vein out just, at the last minute just to prove to you that you never had a chance. Conor McGregor realizes he's the better mixed martial artist. Conor McGregor realizes the adjustment he had to make. That's another reason. If you really thought Conor McGregor thought he wasn't the better mixed martial artist, don't you think he probably would have taken the Nate Diaz fight in the meantime that he could have taken, or another fight he could have taken in between? No, he says, I'm going to get that one back. And in the meantime, while I'm getting it back, I'm going to troll Dustin. I'm going to post DMs that his wife sent me on Twitter. I'm going to call him P-head. I'm going to absolutely embarrass him. And guys, I'm predicting to you right now what's going to happen in tomorrow's press conference. We're going to see a very emotional Dustin Poirier. And Conor wants to get Dustin Poirier overcommitted. And I'm here to tell you right now, the same way I predicted the last fight, I'm going to predict this one. Conor McGregor is going to starch Dustin Poirier. He's going to become the number 1 contender for the lightweight championship. And like I predicted 3 months ago, Conor McGregor will be a UFC champion by the end of the year.
You got a round for us?
First or second round, Conor McGregor ends him. And that's I'm only giving him to the second round. Last thing I will say, people made fun of Conor McGregor for riding the bike a lot, right? They kept making fun of Conor. Every time you see Conor, he's riding a bike or running. He's riding a bike or running. Who else does that? Who else don't you really see hitting the heavy bag and doing sparring and stuff? I got a guy that they're actually really good friends, but they act, on social media as if they hate each other. They're really good friends. Floyd Mayweather does the exact same thing because Conor knows that his cardio is the biggest issue. We're not going to see Conor come out here and waste a bunch of shots. We're going to see Conor pace himself, but you're going to see murderous shots. It's all going to be a question is when does Dustin's chin give out? Is it going to be the first round or is it going to be the second round? Either way, Dustin's got two things. He's either going out lying on his face or on his back.
As a huge UFC fan, a huge Conor McGregor fan, I hope you are right because as Conor McGregor said, that's the biggest. Conor McGregor, when he's Conor McGregor, is the biggest fight in the UFC.
Like Dana said right before. Dana doesn't say this often. Dana said it before certain fights. He said it before the Cowboy fight. He said, "Oh, Conor's here." He said it again today. He said, "Conor is really pissed." He calling him a juiced up hillbilly and stuff like that. The guy's ready. I think he's going to absolutely This
might be the
Dustin
second
Poirier.
time on this podcast I've changed my mind in the middle of it. Now I'm still gonna rock with my
Alex, you gotta quit being so feeble, brother.
I'm still gonna rock with my. I'm gonna rock my
Alex,
Dustin Poirier pick. But
I'm gonna tell you guys.
But
that
I
is,
would be lying to the viewers if I said after Malik's rant right there. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't going to put a little bit of money on a McGregor knockout in the first and second round.
Murderous shots, guys, and like I said, I'll say it again one more time so Dan can clip it. Dustin Poirier, Dustin El Diamante, Dustin the Diamond. Poirier is either going out lying on his face or on his back. He chooses.
Clip it. Let's go.
There we go.
Let's go.
There we go. That is Cody's signature. That is our signature. And Cody knows whenever Cody says clip it.
Hey, you know it always
comes to fruition. Conor McGregor will decapitate Dustin Poirier.
I love it.
It's too easy of a pick. But what a way to end the show. That was a good end. That was a good ending to the show. Dan, you have anything else you want to say? You seem a little you can't wait for Saturday night.
No, I'm getting into UFC. Like I've really started. I mean, I've been, just watching every single press conference. Like it all started with like the Oliveira Chandler. That was the first real entire card I watched, like everything I watched. And now I'm just like, I'm looking at Burns and Wonderboy, and then I'm looking at every other fight now. So I don't know. I'm excited, man. I'm excited. I want to see, because both of these fighters have a lot to lose. Either one of them loses, they won't get a shot at the belt for maybe ever. So,
absolutely. Well, guys, make sure you Ken. I hope you're back in the mentions next week, sir, because when I predict these things, they always tend to come true. But I'm glad that you're going with the general public. I choose to fade the general public, and Conor McGregor is going to knock your boy out. With that being said, guys, you guys can catch us on the UFC preview show this upcoming Saturday, 1 p.m. Eastern time, as Daniel Alameda, Michael Daly, Nader Asaf, Christopher Hanrahan, and myself, we all break down the entire UFC 264 card, and we're super excited for it. You can also catch me tomorrow night on the TWSN's number one and only combat sports show, Strikes and Submissions, live tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Eastern time, as I talk with Michael Daly, Nader Asaf, and Dash Pedersen as we get you guys all geared up for UFC 264. Super excited for it. You guys can catch us here each and every single Wednesday night live on the Game Changers with the new crew. We hope we entertained you, because that is what we came to do. But other than that, guys, we appreciate you for joining in each and every single week. And as always, the show will go on. We'll see you next night.
The marathon continues. The Mamba mentality has left a mark. Shout out to the NBA legend, Kobe, and your daughter, Gigi. From Tom Brady to Drew Bledsoe. Rain, sleet, or snow, I grind.